When Nisargadatta Maharaj, one of the great sages of modern times and incomparable, really, as good as any of the ancient rishis, when he was asked, "Did your awakening happen all at once?" His answer was, "It takes a long time for a fruit to ripen, and then it falls suddenly, feels sudden. It arrives all at once, this thing we call awakening." On another level, this is connected also to what we call revelation, where centuries of knowledge are compressed in revelatory moments. It arrives all at once. And this understanding seems to be very sudden. The sentence you've heard 100 times suddenly becomes true. A teaching you thought you understood suddenly opens from the inside. A truth that has been carried by sages, poets, mystics, scientists, and philosophers for centuries reveals itself in a single instant. This is the mystery of revelation. Centuries of knowledge can be compressed into one moment of seeing. Not because the mind has collected more information, but because for one luminous second, the mind becomes quiet enough to recognize what has always been present. We usually think of knowledge as something accumulated. We read, we study, we compare traditions, we listen to teachers, we memorize concepts, we build systems of thought, and all of this has value, of course. The great wisdom traditions of the world are like rivers carrying insight across generations. But realization is different. Knowledge says, "I understand." Realization says, "Aha, I see." And when you truly see, the distance between yourself and the teaching disappears. It's not knowledge you gather, it's knowledge you become. Take a simple phrase like, "You're not merely the body and mind." For years, this may remain an idea, a beautiful idea perhaps, comforting idea, maybe even a convincing idea, but still an idea. And one day, in meditation, or in grief, or in love, or in silence, something shifts. You notice that thoughts are appearing, but you are not the thoughts. Sensations are appearing, but you're not limited to the sensations. Emotions rise and fall, but something in you remains open, aware, untouched. In that instant, an ancient teaching becomes direct experience. The map becomes the terrain. This is how centuries enter a moment. The Upanishads may speak across thousands of years. The Buddha may point from the stillness beneath suffering. Rumi may sing from the wound where longing becomes divine. The mystics may repeat again and again that the seeker and the sought are not two. But the moment of recognition is always now. It cannot happen yesterday. It cannot happen tomorrow. It happens in the immediacy of this breath, this awareness, this opening. And yet, revelation is not usually random. The flash may be sudden, but the soul has been ripening for years. Every question mattered. Every period of confusion mattered. Every heartbreak, every longing, every meditation, every page read, every prayer whispered in doubt, every moment of surrender, all of it was preparing the ground. A match lights in an instant and burns down a forest, but the wood had to become dry. In the same way, Awakening may appear suddenly, but something in us has been slowly becoming ready. This is why revelation feels both new and ancient. New because it is happening in you now, ancient because what you're seeing has always been true. The truth does not become true when we realize it. It was true before the realization. It was true during our forgetting. It is true even when covered by distraction, fear, ambition, or identity. Revelation is not the creation of truth, it is the removal of distance. And perhaps this is the deepest secret. The wisdom of centuries is not somewhere outside you, waiting to be acquired. It is not locked only in books, temples, monasteries, scriptures, or philosophies. These are, of course, sacred mirrors. They help us remember. But what they're pointing to is the consciousness by which you are hearing these words right now. The awareness in which this moment appears, the stillness beneath your thoughts, the presence that has never actually been absent. So when a revelatory moment comes, it may feel as though the universe has given you something, but perhaps something has simply fallen away. A veil, a contraction, a mistaken identity. And suddenly, what was hidden in plain sight becomes obvious. You're not separate from the mystery you are seeking. You're not outside the wisdom you're trying to understand. The light by which you search is the light you are searching for. This is why a single moment can contain centuries, because ultimate truth does not belong to time. Traditions unfold in time. Languages evolve in time. Teachings travel through time. But what they point to is timeless. And when the timeless is recognized, even for a moment, the whole history of wisdom seems to gather in that recognition. Not as information, as presence. Not as belief, as being. So do not underestimate the quiet moments. Do not underestimate the pause between two thoughts. Do not underestimate the silence after a question has exhausted itself. Sometimes the mind studies for years so that one day it can become still enough to receive what study alone could never give. And in that stillness, centuries speak. Not loudly, not dramatically, but as a simple, radiant knowing. This has always been true. This has always been here. And this is what I am. You know, every morning when I wake up and I decide to post a video, I ask myself, so what should I post? And then I start posting and it just happens. Tattvamasi.